Welcome back, everybody. Well, I'm out here at the fish pond and I got to thinking maybe I should pull out the camera, and while I'm adding some water into the pond because it is a little low at the moment, I can talk a little bit about the benefits of having a fish pond in the garden, of which there are many. So you can see here where there's a water line on the rock. It's really gone down the last week or so. And actually this boulder here that I installed in the pond has become kind of like a meter. When I do fill it up, I just go right to the top of that rock. That's about the perfect height. Now I end up having to add a little bit of water into my pond just about every week throughout the summer months. And that's mainly because of the fountain that I've chosen, which really spits that water up high, creates a lot of evaporation, which I prefer because it's kind of got a different climate zone over here, a little bit more humidity. You can feel it in the air and I prefer that. But this Laguna pump, which I've talked about in previous pond videos, also came with another fountain head that sheds that water a lot lower to reduce that evaporation. With that being said, I do like the look of this particular fountain. Some of those holes are also clogged, so this is another maintenance thing that I do. Usually about once a week, I just pull that head off the fountain, clear those holes of any debris. And here's my little refill kit. I also use this for transferring water out of the pond on occasion to fertilize the garden. That's one of the benefits of having the pond, is as a fertilizer source. And all that's in here is a 20-foot rubber hose. Pull that out. A sump pump I picked up over at Harbor Freight. It's pretty cheap, it's been durable. It's the Drummond model. And I've got this little container here, which has got a bottle of this Pond Prime, which is a water conditioner that helps to remove the chlorine and chloramines from your public water supply. Really important. By the way, there are other natural things such as vitamin C that'll work to do this as well. And I've got a little measuring quarter teaspoon for that product. And then here's a little piece of wire that I use to clear the fountain head. This here is just a 30-gallon trash container. It's actually my compost tea brewer. See the innards there? I'm just going to give it a quick rinse out of any dust, debris, and we'll start filling the pond. I'll just connect this hose to the pump, and we'll drop that down in. Now while that's filling, what I like to do is come over here, and this bench here, I've got a double bench top. The reason I have that is because I can remove this top board and use it as a little bridge to help me access this pump and the fountain top. That's what this little kneeling pad is there for as well. Oh yeah, before I lay this across, I need to turn off the pump. Without the surface layer of the water being disturbed, you can really see into the pond clearly. See the setup there, the milk crate and natural rock filtration system. Different planters, you can see the fish in there, the algae. We'll just lay this board across like that. Just reach down and pull that top off. And then this comes off like that. You can see there's a little bit of gunk inside. So we're just going to clean that out and unplug any of those holes if they're clogged. Now we can just press fit this back on. So we got a nice even spray pattern now. And this is almost full. By the way, I'm going to give this spray nozzle a plug. This has become the long-term winner in my garden. This is by Bonaire, and this is what you call a fire hose spray nozzle. These are really hard to find, but there is one supplier, Northern Tools, I believe the name is, on Amazon. I'll drop a link below if you want to check it out. But I literally picked up several of these. They're a little pricey, and you don't want to drop these on the ground because I've done that before. and it can develop a leak. But if you take care of it and you don't drop it, they'll last many, many years. What I love most about this really is the water flow. It has a nice large opening for that water to flow out of. Nowadays, most of the nozzles have a narrow opening, restricting the flow for water conservation. And that's fine if you want to spend 5 times as long watering areas of your garden or filling your pond. I'm not interested in that, so I really like this nozzle. Anyway, check it out if you're able to pick one up and take good care of it. Sometimes they're not even available online. There was about a 6-month period where I couldn't get one at all. So with this Pond Prime, it takes a very small amount to treat the water. And this is probably, because it's not full to the very, very top, probably like 26, 27 gallons there. So I put a 1/4 teaspoon of this liquid in. That's about the right amount. In fact, if you do the math, it's actually a little bit more than you need. So I don't always put the whole 1/4 teaspoon in. So you can drop that in. I usually give it a minute or two to do its thing, and then I'll start pumping that fresh water into the pond. So we'll set up the other end of the hose. My technique is to do it just about like that. It's a pretty hard blast of water, and I don't like to disturb too much of the sediment and the algae in the pond. So what I try to do is have that burst of water, that jet stream, hit towards the deep end, kind of skimming the surface just to slow it down and distribute it. It really does make a difference, because if you don't do that, then you're going to cloud up your whole pond with sediment, and it's going to really take a while for it to get clear again. All right, so I'm going to plug in the pump now. It is on demand, so plug it in when you're ready to go and unplug it as soon as it's done. So I could tell by the water level that I'll be able to actually refill that container and do this probably 3 times to get it totally tipped off. And at this point, since we've cooled down quite a bit, it'll probably be several weeks before I need to do any adding of water. So now that you've seen all that, if that looks like a doable process for you and not too much work, I want to talk about some of the benefits this pond has provided us here in our garden. First and foremost, I got to tell you, just the sound of the running water, the fountain, the spitter, you can hear it all the way to the back of the house. It's so relaxing and calming. You're not always aware of it, but when you do become aware of it, you realize that it's having a calming effect on you. It's really nice. It's just been nice to have a little area to go hang out, decompress, look at the fish, just watch them swim around and relax, you know, let the mind be free for a moment. The pond is a wonderful little sanctuary. And you don't need all that big of a space to actually build a pond. You could do a smaller version, a larger version. The fish pond isn't just habitat for fish, but it provides a water source, and you'll start seeing dragonflies flying around, hummingbirds coming in, taking a bath in the fountain, getting a drink. You're going to see bees and paper wasps, both garden buddies coming in, landing on the petals of the plants, crawling down the rocks, getting a drink. You'll notice when your dogs are thirsty, they'll prefer to come get a drink out of the pond than their dog water bowl. Chickens will come around. They've always got a backup water supply. So it's really nice. We've even had blue heron come in, which are a predator to the fish, and I've lost a couple fish because of it, but I quickly remedied that, mainly by putting up the sun sail. I think provided many different benefits, and that was one of them. Haven't had an issue. Having the dogs outside most of the time is also beneficial, but it was a sight to see, I'll tell you, coming out to your backyard and seeing a great blue heron at the edge of your pond. So usually what I'm doing right now as the water's refilling into the pond is it'll kind of disturb some of the surface debris. You can just take a net, which I have, and scoop that out. But what I like to do is I have this watering can, and I'll just go to an area where I see some things floating around, and I'll just kind of surface skim. The pond like that, I'll be able to get rid of a lot of debris, and I can come over here and start doing a little bit of watering and fertilizing at the same time. Free fertilizer. So you're getting the benefit of nitrogen, minerals, and organic material all going into your garden soil, helping to feed your plants. You'll notice an improvement You notice the plants perk up, and it just doesn't get much easier than this. And there are other ways to do this whole process. This is what works for me. I wanted to share it with you because it's actually quite simple, just basic. So we need to refill the compost brewer again. And seeing as I'm out here already, might as well just keep on doing a bit of skimming, watering and fertilizing in this area. And as you can see, the pond is actually really clean. There's not much to skim. In that case, I might just dunk the watering can in several times and water anyway, since I'm refilling the pond. But you know, these plants back over here, they really don't see water very often, so this is a really nice treat for them. You want to see the fishies come up? Give them a little bit of food. One of the other obvious benefits to having a pond in the garden is creating a microclimate. So for a backyard food forest especially, to be able to create a little zone where perhaps you can maybe stretch out what you could possibly grow, maybe increase the ambient air temperature a little bit in the winter by having this body of water here. It's actually moving with the pump, generating the fountain, disturbing the surface of the water. You might get away with planting a plant that would otherwise die if you're in a colder area. So a pond can create just a few degrees shift, a little pocket of humid air. It gives you a lot to play around with and experiment with. And finally, aesthetics. Having a pond in your landscape in the middle of your garden, it does something to naturalize, to just make it feel like you're really in a whole different place. It's beautiful. I really do enjoy it. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. You got something from it. If you did, be sure to smash that thumbs. If you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. New uploads coming out all the time, every week, sometimes every day. So with that, I want to wish you all a great rest of your weekend. Until next time, this is Dan from plantabundance.com. Take care. I'll be talking to you again soon.